Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Deep Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Feldberg, aka entrepreneur, creator of the 9 Step Deep Wealth Roadmap, and the guy who said no to a 7 figure offer and yes to a 9 figure exit deal. Today's going to be a solo episode, and we're going to focus on why buyers walk away, the deal killers you never see coming until it's too late. So let me be blunt. Buyers rarely walk away without a reason, but it's the reason that you never see coming that kills the deal. And when that happens, it's not just a handshake loss, it's millions, tens of millions vaporize and forget about all that time, effort, focus that you put into the whole due diligence process. So in today's episode, let's use this as a wake-up call. It's for you. I know you're high performing. I know you're building an empire. But here's the thing. Are you ready to risk losing it all because you're falling into the same traps that most entrepreneurs do? Here's the brutal truth. Up to 90% of liquidity events fail. And the ones that succeed, and I'm using air quotes around succeed, entrepreneurs are often leaving 50% to over 100% of the deal value in the buyer's pocket, and they don't even know it. I want that to sink in, because in today's episode, it's all about the hidden deal killers, the ones that don't show up until it's too late. These are the same deal killers that not only derail your deal, not in the boardroom, but in the shadows, during due diligence, team interviews, or financial reviews that you thought were airtight. So, what are we doing here today? We're going to uncover the silent assassins, not just of your exit deal, but of your financial freedom and your legacy. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how to eliminate them before any buyer ever comes knocking. In today's episode, you're going to hear a story of a deal that nearly fell apart and what saved it, the top 5 hidden deal killers that you're likely ignoring, why time kills deals, and why silence is never golden, and last but not least, a proven solution that flips the script and puts you in control. And yes, I'll share exactly how the Deep Wealth 9-Step Roadmap helps you find and fix these landmines just like it did for me in my exit journey. And ideally, we find them before they explode, well before we're in market. So I want you to imagine this. You're preparing for your exit, and instead of stress, you're actually confident. You've got peace of mind. You have clarity. You've uncovered the blind spots, otherwise known as skeletons. You've resolved them. Or if you haven't resolved them, at least you know about them and you've created narratives around them. You've positioned your business not just to sell, but to command a premium. After all, you don't want any deal. You want the absolute best deal. And that's what this episode delivers. And hey, if you heard enough and you're looking for a quick win right now, I've got something special for you. Email me at success@deepwealth.com. success, you know success, at deepwealth.com. And in the subject line, put valuation risk checklist. Do that, and we'll send you a complimentary tool that we use inside Deep Wealth Mastery to help you uncover your hidden vulnerabilities. It's incredible. This takes you from A to Z all the way through. You're going to love it. It's free, it's powerful, and you know what? It may just save your deal. And nudge, nudge, wink, wink, if you haven't already, now's the time to subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast. Please press that subscribe button in your favorite platform. New episodes weekly to help you build your profits today, grow your business, grow your enterprise value. And when the time is right to sell your business, that's when you can pull the trigger, not for any deal, but for the absolute best deal, whether it's 2 years away or 22 years away. That said, let's dive in. Coming up next, the dangerous myth that most entrepreneurs believe and how it silently sabotages your future exit. I was speaking to an entrepreneur the other day, and we were talking about what's going on, a fabulous business that's been built, and a very promising exit. And when we're talking about a few of the tactical things, the entrepreneur told me 3 words I hear time and time again: it'll work out. And I've got to tell you, Deep Health Nation, it never just works out. So if you're telling yourself the myth of it'll work out, stop it right now. Because let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever said it'll work out? I know you do. I know I did. This was the Jeffrey that went up against that seven-figure offer. And I got to tell you, although I point my fingers at that wolf in sheep's clothing, otherwise known as the Fortune 10 buyer at the time, for that seven-figure offer, as much as it was that buyer, I had a part to play in that as well because I said it'll work out. I just didn't know what I didn't know. Maybe you're saying it'll work out after a team meeting that didn't quite sit right, or a last minute scramble before a buyer call, or when your financials were good enough but not bulletproof. It'll work out. It's dangerous when it comes to your exit, your financial freedom, and your legacy. And when it comes to your future exit, that mindset, that can be a deal killer. Look, I get it. I know you're smart. You've built a successful business and probably against the odds, you've done it. You've solved big problems and you survived the storm. So it's only natural to believe that you'll figure it out again when the time comes because you're telling yourself, hey, Jeffrey, look, I'm busy. I have way too much on my plate. I'll get to it when I get to it and I'll figure it out like I do with everything else. But let me tell you something that the M&A world will not. Buyers don't walk away without a reason. And the reason is usually something you never saw coming. Most sellers are blindsided, not for the obvious failures, but by the silent faults, otherwise known as skeletons in the closet, they never thought to look for. Said in another way, how can you win at a game you've never played before? The skills to start your business, they were very different than to create a successful business. And those are very different to sell your business. So let's be real. Most business owners, especially those running 7, 8, 9-figure companies, you assume that the buyers will, I'm using air quotes, see the value and overlook the minor issues and negotiate in good faith. But here's a very inconvenient truth. Buyers are not your friends. They're not your mentors. They're professional negotiators trained to see past the sizzle, and they're like sharks. When they smell blood in the water, it is over for you. You're done before it's even begun. And they're not obligated to tell you why they walk. They just do. Silently, quietly, coldly. So let me paint the picture. You go through months of conversations, excitement builds, you've signed check after check after check for your advisors, you're getting ready, you go to market, and then boom, radio silence. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You've done the right thing because you have an investment banker and you've gone to market where you have a competitive bid, you have multiple buyers, but buyer after buyer, it's silent. They're either walking away from the deal table or you're not hearing anything. And then you're hearing, well, we decided to pursue other opportunities. You, your investment banker, you're left wondering, what just happened? What did they find? Well, here's what you're not going to hear, but here's what I'm going to tell you. They found something that shook their confidence. And in the world of M&A, confidence and trust is everything. Now, it could be something incredibly small. It could be inconsistent revenue reports, perhaps an offhanded comment made from a team member. It may have been a missing system or a manual. It could have been a subtle culture clash, but that something small becomes everything. Because you see, the it'll work out, well, that myth, it's a silent assassin. It blinds you to what the buyers are trained to see. This is what they're looking for 24/7, all day, every day, including Sunday. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to, believe it or not, to protect you because I've been there, I've done it, I've lived it. I nearly fell into the same trap. Let me be crystal clear. Hope is not a strategy, and assumptions don't close deals. If you're preparing for your exit or you're even thinking about it someday, you need to replace assumptions with preparation. That's where the power lives. That's how you take control. And if you're wondering where to begin, that's why I created the free Hidden Deal Killers checklist. Again, email me at success@deepwealth.com. Email success@deepwealth.com and I'll send it to you right away because what you don't know can and will hurt you. In the world of M&A, you are always guilty. You are never innocent. But, and this is a big one, when you can see it clearly and when you see it before you're in market, you get to fix it. You get to fix it fast. And I got a little secret for you. When you fix those hidden skeletons in the closet, watch your profits catapult. And you're not only having a bigger business, you're going to make sure you're not going out of business. After all, what's the point of a business exit if you're not in business? Coming up next, the story of a deal that almost fell apart and what saved it just in time. You ready for it? Okay, let's do it. I'm going to share a story with you from a graduate of the 90-day Default Mastery Program. Again, this is the exact same 9-step roadmap that I created for my deal exit. I'm going to change the name of the entrepreneur for privacy reasons. Let's call the entrepreneur Jamie. We're going to go behind the curtain and share a story that Jamie shared with me before starting the Default Mastery system. And in fact, this story was the main reason why Jamie came to Default Mastery, so that it would never happen again. Jamie was telling me that it was a late afternoon and Jamie was about to jump on a call with what he believed would be the buyer. They were deep into diligence. There were months of documents, interviews, back and forth. The advisory team was confident. Jamie was probably even a little too confident that it was days away from a signed deal. And then, as Jamie tells me in his own words, silence. Nothing, nada. No email, no call, nothing. 2 days, 3 days, not a word. And then finally, Jamie receives that famous message, we're pausing discussions for now. And just like that, Jamie saw his financial freedom poof, up in smoke. And forget any deal, forget the best deal, there was no deal. And the worst part, Jamie didn't know why. The buyer didn't give a reason, no warning, just a pause. Jamie couldn't help but think about all the checks that he had written for his advisors to get him there. And now, if you've ever been in that position, you know that sinking feeling in your stomach. Your future, your freedom, your mind is racing, your legacy, it's all slipping through your fingers. You don't even know what you're going to do to get you through that. Jamie went back, combed through everything, and that's when it hit him. There was a small detail, one that he'd overlooked, in how the KPIs were being reported. When Jamie looked at the KPIs, he had two dashboards. Now, both dashboards were similar, but they were slightly different, and depending on how you looked at it, each one told a very different tale, even though it's the same company and the same KPIs. Now, Jamie wasn't being fraudulent. There's nothing dramatic that was going on here, but it was enough to cast some doubt. And that's all that it took. The buyer lost trust. Currency in the world of M&A is not money, it's trust. And when the trust is gone, everything is gone. The deal is dead. Even though Jamie caught the mistake and even went back to the buyer and explained to the buyer did come back to the table, but now the buyer was spooked. And the buyer did end up putting an offer on the table, but there was a high penalty. It was a fraction of the enterprise value that it should have been. Jamie came to the Default Mastery Program and he said, Jeffrey, I never want that to happen again. All that time, effort, money wasted. I never want to see my financial future go up in smoke. Let me do it right this time. And Jamie went through the 90-day Default Mastery Program and is now well on his way to doing things right. But it's usually these small, silent missteps that can tip the scales. And even Jamie's investment banker, as good as the investment banker was, missed that one slight mistake, and it wasn't done intentionally. It was completely unintentional. But as small as it was, when you lose the trust of the buyer, everything is off the table. As you're thinking about Jamie and his story, coming up next, I'm going to reveal the top 5 hidden deal killers that most entrepreneurs never see coming and how they quietly crush your exit dreams. Trust me, you're going to want to write these down. So let's talk about the top 5 hidden deal killers. You're saying, okay, terrific, Jeffrey, what are they? Well, before I go into that, let's set this up. You have an amazing business, at least from the outside. You've done everything right. At least you and your team feel that you've done. But as great as your business may be on paper, if you have these 5 hidden deal killers, by the way, they're lurking in the shadows. They're not so obvious. If you have them, your deal is as good as dead. And these 5 hidden deal killers, well, they're not dramatic. They're not headline-worthy disasters. They're subtle. They're flying under the radar until the buyer's due diligence team digs them up. And then, boom, done. It's too late. So let's shine some light on it. What's going on here? Number 1, inconsistent or unclear financials. Buyers don't just want numbers. You can give them spreadsheet after spreadsheet. What they want is a story. And that story, that narrative, it's got to be clear, consistent, and verifiable. If your financials shift from one report to the next, if line items are unclear or they're labeled differently across systems, or if accrual versus cash basis isn't properly aligned, or even if you have the financials right, but you've got a boring narrative or even no narrative, you've got major issues. You've just planted a massive red flag. Buyers aren't always going to tell you, they're just going to walk away because they have deal after deal waiting for them. In fact, they have more deals than they have time itself to go after. So they have to choose, which deal am I going to look at? Mistake number two, founder dependency. And this is one of my favorite questions. Every time a new entrepreneur comes into the Deep Wealth community, we ask them, does your business run without you? Yes or no? No hemming or hawing, no stories. In other words, if you were abducted by aliens and you came back 30 days later, 3 months later, 3 years later, would you still have a business? So if you're the rainmaker, the problem solver, the decision maker, you're not just the CEO, you're the risk. Buyers are buying the business, not you. They don't want a second full-time job, otherwise known as your business, because you depart, revenue tanks, operations break, and now they're spending full time trying to fix it. I want you to think of it like this. If, heaven forbid, you got hit by a bus tomorrow, does the business keep running or does it collapse? That's founder dependency and it kills deals. Hidden deal killer number three, unspoken team dysfunction. Here's the thing you must know. Buyers will talk to your team. They're listening for tone, alignment, morale. One off-script conversation, one eye roll on a Zoom call, even one misalignment in vision, and they're out. If your leadership team isn't rowing in the same direction, the buyer will notice. What's normal friction to you signals hidden chaos to them. Again, a buyer wants a return on investment. They don't want that second full-time job, otherwise known as your business, where you have a toxic culture. They're going to go through all of this because this is all that they do all day, every day. So you want to make sure that your team is in unison. And in fact, as we're talking about this, it reminds me of step 2, X factors. One of the X factors, it's your culture. Your competition, with all their money, they can buy a lot of things. They can copy a lot of what you do, but they can't buy your culture. Now, culture cuts two ways. We spoke about the toxic culture, but when you have a rich and thriving culture, you can't put money on that. You cannot buy that. It's like a fingerprint. It's unique to you and your business. So you want to make sure that you avoid that unspoken team dysfunction. Hidden deal kill number 4, and it's kind of a boring one, but I'll put it out there anyways. Lack of documented system. Now, here's a litmus test for you. If you walked away right now from your business, is there a playbook? Everything is written down that keeps everything running. Now, if you're saying no, I've got to tell you, that's also a no to an exit. That's a huge problem. Buyers don't want to figure it out. They want your standard operating procedures, your SOPs, your KPIs, your dashboards, your automations. They want a turnkey machine, not a Pandora's box or a mystery box. No documentation, well, that's no scalability, and that leads to either a lower valuation or no deal. It creates uncertainty, and remember, uncertainty kills deals. And I know documentation is boring. No one wants to do it. But let me tell you this, when you do it, you're not only scaling your business a lot faster, you're saving time, you're saving effort, you're making it easier as you grow or if someone leaves a team, it's all written down. Earlier, I talked about step 2 X factors. We have the 4 points of clarity. And this is where we have different types of documentation that can make all the difference. And when you do it right, it's an X factor in and of itself. And last but not least, of the hidden deal killers, number 5, cultural misalignment. And here's the one where most entrepreneurs, they never even consider because it's a stealth killer. Your culture may not align with the buyers. Let me say that again. Your culture may not align with the buyers. Now, I'm not talking about bean bags and free snacks. I'm talking about values, operating cadence, decision-making styles. A buyer who's buttoned up and is process-driven won't mesh with your cowboy style shoot from the hip leadership culture. And once they sense that mismatch, well, even a profitable business, no matter how profitable, a buyer will take a pass. And in fact, as I'm talking about this, I'm thinking of step 3, future buyer in the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap. In step 3, future buyer, one of the things that we talk about is how to do due diligence on your future buyer. That's right. We reverse the roles here. We flip the script where before you do a full engagement with a potential buyer, before you sign any letter of intent, you're assessing that buyer. And one of the things that you're assessing is the culture. That's how important it is. So there you have the 5 hidden business deal killers. Now you may be wondering, well, how do these killers go unnoticed? The answer, you're too close to the business. And that's the irony. You live it every day, you breathe it, and that makes you blind to the skeletons in the closet, the very things that buyers zero in on. And again, how do you win at a game you've never played before? Because the skills to grow a business are very different to sell it. Buyers don't buy the business you think you have. They buy the business you've proven you have. Let me say that again. Buyers don't buy the business that you think you have. They buy the business that you've proven you have. And proving it means finding and fixing these issues before you ever get into market. And that's exactly why we created the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery System. It's not about theory, it's about transformation. Email me, success@deepwealth.com. Again, that's success, success, at deepwealth.com. And in the subject line, put Deep Wealth Mastery. I'm going to send you a free diagnostic to help you spot your hidden deal killers before the buyer does. Success@deepwealth.com. In the subject, Deep Wealth Mastery. That's success@deepwealth.com. So coming up, why these issues don't show up until it's too late, and how buyers never tell you what went wrong. So let's keep going. Why is it too late when it shows up? So let me share something with you that might come as a surprise. Buyers don't fix broken businesses. They walk away from them. Let that settle in for just a moment. Most sellers think they'll get a heads up, a chance to explain or correct a misunderstanding. Wrong. Buyers don't owe you that, and they won't give it to you. When a buyer finds something that they don't like, they don't raise a flag. They quietly pull the plug. No drama, no second chances, just we've decided to move in another direction, or as worse, well, I know your business could be worth X, but we're going to put a heavy penalty on it, and now it's worth Y. And oftentimes, you'll never even know what you missed. And the reason? Time kills deals. Or as we say in Deep Wealth Mastery, speed always wins, especially when you're the seller. Every day that goes by in due diligence is a day buyers become more nervous, not more committed. They're looking for reassurances. They want confidence. They want trust. One crack, that's all it takes. One crack in the foundation, just one, and that trust disappears. And here's the real kicker. Trust, once it's broken, it's nearly impossible to restore, especially in the M&A world. And that's why most sellers are shocked when the deal falls apart. They didn't see it coming, but the signs were there. They were hidden in plain sight. It's not that your business isn't great. It's that you didn't know what the buyers were really looking for. And hey, Deep Wealth Nation, I get it. You're running the business. You're managing people. You're solving problems. You're putting out fires. Maybe you're even doing well. Growth is strong. Profits are healthy. But here's the trap. Being good enough operationally doesn't mean you're ready enough for due diligence. Preparation is a completely different game, and unless you play it before you go into market, you lose by default. Let me be clear. You don't get a second shot at first impressions. And in the world of M&A, first impressions are everything. Once the buyer's confidence is shaken, once doubt creeps in, once the lawyers or the analysts raise an eyebrow, my friend, it's over, and you'll never even know what went wrong. But, and it's a big one, here's the good news. You can flip the script, you can change the story, you can fix the cracks before the spotlight hits. And that's exactly what the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap is built for. So coming up next, I'm going to walk you through how preparation flips the entire script, puts you back in control, and tilts the playing field in your favor. And I'm going to share a few real-world transformations from entrepreneurs just like you, Deep Wealth Nation. But before I do that, if this is hitting too close to home, good. It means you're ready. I want you to feel that pain. I want you to feel that uneasiness, because what I want you to do next, it's simple. It'll take you 3 seconds. Email success@deepwealth.com, success @deepwealth.com. Email success@deepwealth.com. In the subject line, put due diligence prep, success@deepwealth.com. I will send you a powerful checklist that we use to bulletproof businesses before they ever go into market, because you've worked too hard for too long to leave money on the table, or worse, not only watch it disappear, but watch your financial freedom, your financial independence disappear. Let's fix that. Let's change that. So next up, how the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap exposes and eliminates deal killers before a buyer even knows they exist. You're not going to want to miss this. So let's talk about the solution of why you must prepare before you ever get into market. So now that we've uncovered the silent killers, let's talk about what you can do about it, the antidote. And no, this is not guesswork, it's not hope or rolling the dice on a friendly buyer. It's preparation. And what I love about preparation, it's intentional. strategic, and proven. And that's exactly where the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap comes in. This isn't theory. This is the exact system that I created and used after I said no to a 7-figure offer and later, less than 2 years later, yes to a 9-figure exit. The only thing that changed, it was my preparation. I want you to think about that. From 7 figures to 9 figures, same company, same service, same people, the business didn't change. It was how I prepared, what I did, what I didn't do. And that's why I built the roadmap where I reverse engineered every failure, mine and others, to find out what works and what doesn't and what buyers are really looking for. Because here's a secret that most entrepreneurs, they never learn. And Deep Wealth Nation, please pay close attention. Preparation flips the script. It puts you in the driver's seat. You're no longer reacting to buyers' requests. You're proactively controlling the narrative. You're uncovering the skeletons before any buyer does. In fact, before you ever go into market. You're highlighting those beautiful Rembrandts that are hidden in the attic. You're putting them out for public display. You're crafting a narrative of confidence, credibility, and certainty. And best of all, you're doing this on your timeline, not the buyers, not the marketplace. You're saving your health, your time, your money. And when you do it right, when you have a competitive process, you're telling the buyers, thank you, but no thank you. You're choosing who's going to not only be part of the process, but who's going to fight to have the privilege of buying your business, not just any deal, but the best deal. And with that said, Deep Wealth Nation, I want to share some testimonials from graduates of the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, entrepreneurs like you, like me. Here's what they found. Jane says, and I quote, "Deep Wealth prevented me from making what would have been one of the biggest mistakes of my career. I almost signed on the dotted line with an unsolicited offer. I now realize that I would have shortchanged my hard work and my financial future had I accepted that offer." Powerful, right? Here's another one from William. "I've been doing my business for 30 years and I'm amazed at what I now know that I didn't know. I now have the confidence and know I'll make far fewer mistakes for my future liquidity event." And here's one more for good measure from Emily. "The Deep Wealth Mastery Program helped me create the right mindset for both growing my business and later for my future exit. The team and I have found dangerous skeletons and gaps that we're now addressing due to the program. Today, our actions have a massive return on investment." Now, these are real entrepreneurs just like you, smart, successful, but unaware of what was hiding inside their own businesses. With the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery Program, they turned things around. They didn't just survive due diligence, they dominated it. And here's the best part. When you're prepared, you don't chase the buyers, buyers chase you. That's the power of the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap. It's not just about selling your business. It's about growing it, protecting it, and ultimately extracting your own deep wealth, pun intended. So if you're thinking, I want that kind of clarity and confidence, good, you're ready. Email success@deepwealth.com and in the subject line, put Deep Wealth Mastery. Again, email success@deepwealth.com. success@deepwealth.com. Put Deep Wealth Mastery in the subject line, and let's talk about whether the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery system, if it's a fit for you. Because I'll be the first to tell you, it is not for everyone. But if you qualify, it could be the single best investment you'll ever make. Coming up next, one powerful reminder to bring this all together and a simple question that just might change your future. So as we wrap things up, you don't know what you don't know. And I want to leave you with this. Let me say it one more time. You don't know what you don't know. And in the world of M&A, that blind spot, it isn't just dangerous, it's deadly. Those hidden skeletons in the closet, that's what kills the deals, destroys legacy, and it robs you of your financial independence, your financial freedom that you've spent a lifetime of building. If there's one thing I want you to walk away with from today's episode, it's this. Your future buyer is already prepared for you, but are you prepared for your future buyer? Most entrepreneurs, they wait far too long. They show up unprepared, unaware, and unfortunately, unsold. Remember, up to 90% of exits fail, and the quote unquote successful ones that cross the finish line, those entrepreneurs are leaving 50% to over 100% of the deal value in the buyer's pocket. They don't even know that, but that's not you. You're here, you're learning, you're asking all the right questions. So here's your next question. What are your hidden deal killers? I'm not talking hypothetical ones. I'm not talking other people's problems, yours. Do you have founder's dependency, unclear financials, unspoken team issues, no documented systems. If you're not sure, well, that's your answer. And that's where the journey begins. Your legacy deserves more than good enough. Your family, your team, and your future deserves your best. Deep Wealth Nation, are you drinking your own Kool-Aid as so many entrepreneurs do, where they tell themselves that they're too busy to prepare for an exit that could be years or even decades away? Are you telling yourself, hey, my exit is 2 years away or it's 22 years away? I'll prepare the year before it happens or 6 months before it happens because I'm too busy right now. I don't have the time. Deep Wealth Nation, I've got news for you. You will never have the time. And by the time you start preparing, just months before your exit, it's already too late. It's done before it's begun. Now, if you want any deal, you don't care about the best deal, fine. Drink your own Kool-Aid. Believe that myth. But if you want the absolute best deal over any deal, the preparation, it must begin right now today. As that saying goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. The Deep Wealth 9-Step Roadmap, it was built for a moment exactly like this. It was built for this moment, for entrepreneurs like you, like me, for Deep Wealth Nation, who are smart enough to know that you can't do it alone and brave enough to do something about this. You don't get a second chance at the best deal of your life, but you do get the chance to prepare today. So the rest, well, that's up to you, Deep Wealth Nation. If you're ready to protect everything that you've built and unlock the value that you deserve, I want you to reach out. Email me, success@deepwealth.com. I know I'm a broken record, success@deepwealth.com, but I mean it, success@deepwealth.com, success at deepwealth.com. And in the subject line, let's change it up. In the subject line, why don't you put in My Deep Wealth? And when you put My Deep Wealth in the subject, I'll personally connect you with a resource tailored to your next step. And remember, the best time to prepare was yesterday. The next best time, right now. As we begin to wrap things up, let's do a quick recap and the final steps to stay connected and to take action. So, Deep Wealth Nation, let me ask you something. Did this episode resonate with you? Did you walk away with at least one actionable strategy that's going to add value, not just for your business, but for you, your team today? And I suspect you're saying yes. Well, I want to make sure that you stay ahead of the curve and have a small favor to ask. Number one, subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast. Each week, I share insights, interviews, and strategies to help you grow your business today and position it for the best exit tomorrow. Again, your financial freedom, your financial independence depends on it. So if you haven't already, press that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to stay connected and build momentum. Number two, I want you to get your free resource. Whether you're years away from an exit or you're preparing to go into market shortly, you need to know your risks. Email me, success@deepwealth.com, success@deepwealth.com, and in the subject line, put due diligence, and I'll send you the exact resources that we use in the Deep Wealth Mastery program that's going to help you and your team prepare for your exit. You'll uncover the deal killers, find your Rembrandts, and you'll sleep better at night. No strings, no spam, just real value. And number three, explore the Deep Wealth Mastery system. If you're serious about protecting your legacy and extracting your deep wealth, let's talk. The 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery System is not a course, it's a transformational system built by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. It's the only system in the marketplace that's based on a 9-figure exit deal and is designed to help you create a future where you never worry about money again. Email success, success, at deepwealth.com, and in the subject line, put Deep Wealth Mastery to start the conversation. We'll see if there's a fit, and if there is, you'll join an elite group of business owners preparing for not any deal, but the absolute best deal of their lives. And then number four, if you know someone who's thinking about an exit or should be, please do them a favor. Share this episode with them. Send them this episode. You sharing this episode may make the difference between no deal and the absolute best deal. Because if it helps you, it can help them. And if it did help you, let me know. I'd love to hear your story. Perhaps even feature it in a future episode. You've worked too hard and you've come too far to leave your future up to chance. So let's make sure that you capture your deep wealth and live the post-exit life that you've earned. As we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much, and God bless.